Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing and having a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Well, we've been doing a lot of research lately, and this is just a recording. I didn't put it in, so I'll do a premiere later with it. Didn't have time to go live and didn't really want to have to be able to talk. Sorry about that. But communication isn't my best effort when I'm trying to read too. But I wanted to go through these security checks. Just happens to be just a Wikipedia, so it's not the full list. Certainly gave me some pause though. I'm in a WTF moment here. Okay, so I got to read some of this to you. So I'm going to just read it. So it's a list of Scientology security checks. In Scientology, the security check or sec check is an interrogation technique put into practice by founder L. Ron Hubbard, the felon, in 1960. It involves an ethics officer probing the thoughts, attitudes, and behavior of an individual member by asking them large numbers of questions. The bulk of the questions deal with criminal or sexual activity or intentions, or other things that the interviewee might be ashamed of, and probe negative thoughts that the person might have about Scientology or Hubbard. As with auditing, the person holds the electrodes of the e-meter, so he grabs hold the cans, a pseudoscientific device that measures electrical conductivity in the human body, while they are often given a series of highly probing personal questions. As I said, hold on tight, you guys. These are some WTF. So it's sometimes compared to the practice of confession in other religions. However, with its guided questions, a sect check is closer to an interrogation than it is to the free-form unburdening of voluntary repentance. Guys, I can just shake my head. Don't mean to shake my gullet here, too. Hubbard describes security checking as a remedy for the compulsion or obsession to commit actions the person feels must be kept secret. Sec checks are performed on every Scientologist on the bridge to total freedom and every 6 months for those on the OT 7 level to make sure they're using the tech correctly, and on staff members who wish to leave staff. So this means all children that are audited that are on the bridge to total freedom or in any type of courses, ethics handling, or auditing. Shame, 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 shame. Susan Rain observes that the questions asked in the security check show that L. Ron Hubbard was intensely preoccupied with scrutiny, surveillance, and betrayal. She notes that this intense form of surveillance makes sense from a bureaucratic perspective as a way of making sure all individuals follow and internalize the organizational goals. Brent Corydon compares security checking to the use of thought police in the novel 1984. He writes that Scientologists are punished for having negative thoughts about Hubbard or Scientology and so learn to think only positively. David Mayo reported that sec checks included the question, have you ever had any unkind thoughts about LRH? And that such discreditable thoughts could land a follower in trouble like the RPF. And yes, in fact, it did land a lot of people in the RPF. John Atack writes that sec checks could be applied either as a confidential confessional or as a non-confidential investigation. He alleges that former members have been silenced by the fear that their confidential secrets will be used as blackmail against them. And yes, they were. They were definitely held against people with blackmail. In response to public outrage toward Scientology and increasing government investigations into its practices, head of Public Relations Bureau of the Guardian's Office, David Gaiman issued in 1968 a code of reform announcing the cancellation of the practice of disconnection, declaring people fair game security checking as a form of confession, and a prohibition of writing down confessional materials. The PR move was to assure the press and governments that a severe, puritanical, and punitive approach was no longer necessary, and so Scientology was taking a new liberal attitude. However, it changed nothing for the practices in the organization. It was just in the writing of those practices, but this still happened. Later Scientology documents refer to the practice, and former members report that it still continues. Sorry about that. In 1972, ouch, 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 the South African Commission of Inquiry published a report on Scientology. It recommended that there should be legislation against sect checks. I wonder why. However, no legislative action was taken as a result. Okay, so let's get into a few examples. So the pre-processing security check, and there's only a couple of questions on each of these. I know they're hundreds long. But the pre-processing, so this is as you are trying to get into Scientology. You want to become a Scientologist. Are you a pervert? Are you guilty of any major crimes in this lifetime? Have you been sent here knowingly to injure Scientology? Are you or have you ever been a communist? Are you closely affiliated to any person or organization violently opposed to L. Ron Hubbard or Scientology? Darn fly. The Johannesburg security check, and this is the one that I was actually looking for. The Johannesburg, also known as the Joburg security check, was described by Hubbard as the roughest security check in Scientology. An amended form continued to be used for some time thereafter. Amongst Hubbard's list of primarily crime-related questions is the question, have you ever slept with a member of a race of another color? Green, red, yellow, what other color? Come on now. Other questions include, have you ever embezzled money? Have you ever been a drug addict? Have you ever bombed anything? Have you ever murdered anyone? Have you ever raped anyone? Have you ever had anything to do with a baby farm? A baby farm? That's disgusting. And as a reminder, you guys, these could be children asking adults or adults asking children. The contexts of the Joburg security check were later revised into what became the only valid security check. And it was added to the security check are these new questions such as, do you collect sexual objects? Do you have a secret you are afraid I'll find out? While you're holding these cans, are you upset by this security check? Have you ever had unkind thoughts about L. Ron Hubbard? I don't know. I just keep having to shake my head, you guys. Auditor sec check. This sec check, comprising 170 questions, was meant for staff auditors and field auditors, the ones that do the auditing. Here's just a couple of them. Do you hope you won't be found out? Do you think there's anything wrong with having your privacy invaded? What do you wish you hadn't done? Are you upset by this security check? I'm looking at those questions and I'm just kind of amazed that they're open-ended. Definitely open, emotionally ended. So here's the children's security check. Designed to be applied to children ages 6 to 12, it includes 100 questions. And I know I've seen these. I think uh, Relatable Reese had them, and I think Nora's has posted them. I'm going to try and find all 100 questions of them. What has somebody told you not to tell? Have you ever decided you didn't like some member of your family? Have you ever taken something belonging to somebody else and never given it back? Have you ever pretended to be sick? Have you ever made yourself sick or hurt yourself to make somebody sorry? So those are pretty innocuous questions. I know Reese was saying some really bad ones. Okay, so here's the whole track security check. This long sec check consists of hundreds of questions, takes stock of the subject's entire time track. So I guess it means the trillions of years that they've been through lives, including their recollections of any past lives they believe they have had. It includes questions such as, did you come to Earth for evil purposes? Have you ever smothered a baby? Have you ever enslaved a population? Have you ever destroyed a culture? Have you ever torn out somebody's tongue? Have you ever zapped anyone? Have you eaten a human body? Have you ever made a planet or nation radioactive? What? What the hell? Have you ever torn out somebody's tongue? What kind of question is that? Have you ever smothered a baby? Who who even asks that type of question? You guys, this is pretty damn sick. I know I was listening to Reese on the one about the children, but what the hell? Okay, so now that I've really destroyed your evenings and probably given you nightmares for the next couple of years, alrighty then. Okay. Well, for right now, I think I'm going to end it and go from there. I'm going to publish this. I'll talk to you guys later.